delve into some of the points raised there. Happy to say that Polish journalist Konrad Rękas, with a particular focus on geopolitical events, joins us live now on the programme. You're more than welcome, sir. Thank you. We have Vladimir Putin saying Moscow is ready to talk Trump's 28-point peace plan. It's been received by the Kremlin. The US leader himself wants it signed reportedly by Thanksgiving, which is on Thursday, within a week. It appears to be a rush. Are you satisfied that all the issues could be hammered out in that time frame?
Well, some could say that the real compromise is when both sides are not completely happy with what has been achieved. And that's the example of that. Ukraine was warned many times that each time they will be pushed to return to the table, all these proposals would be worse for the Kiev regime. And that's what is exactly happening now. But it's still something which could, well, save many positions of the Ukrainian, not government, but of course Ukrainian people. That's the most important there. The war could stop, the people could stop dying, and that's the very positive, of course, aspect of that. Of course, we as a Poles, for example, could have some doubts about some elements of these proposals. But again, remembering that Poland could be the next one to be pushed against Russia in the next hybrid war, we are happy too if we could see all these Western Russian tensions, if not solved and completely cancelled, then at least suspended for the longer period of time.
Just on the reaction to it, you know, that we've been seeing among mainstream media primarily, it seems to be a lot of aghast horror at what's in the proposal, seemingly because it's not all in favour of Kiev. But as you say, you know, in any kind of deal, if you're not totally happy with it on both sides, that's generally a good thing. So will they find a way to get on board, or do you think Brussels will eventually just be sidelined and those at the forefront of this will just press on regardless, US and Russia?
Well, that's the real challenge. That's the moment of truth for the Western European politics toward Ukraine conflict, and we can see the very sensitive, delicate difference in the attitude of the Western leaders now that, for example, a couple months ago, when we heard, for example, Secretary Starmer today after conversation with Vladimir Zelensky, Secretary Starmer held from the 20 summit, that was a bit different accents in this new attitude of the British Prime Minister. It was not complete decline of the Donald Trump proposals. It was not decline of any kind of peace negotiation other than based on, well, apparent imagined triumph of the Western democracy over Russian tyranny. Of course, this time not. This time it was completely different. Even Vladimir Zelensky, in his speech, was not so sure as previously about, you know, standing to the last moment and fight to final victory. It was completely different this time, and that gives hope to the Ukrainian people waiting for peace, of course, and for European people also waiting to restore normal relations with Russia and Russian economy especially. So that's a thin element of hope. But of course, in the same time, we've got the speeches of Secretary Kallas, again returning to this phraseology of sanctions and exclusions only. And we know that the next, of course, very easy to imagine, the next step for Zelensky would be to again come to Macron, to Starmer, to Merz, to return to this so-called coalition of winning and check if Europe is interested and whatever Europe has capacity to still support Kiev regime to keep this conflict longer for next couple months, even without American support. That would be the crucial, well, at least couple days, if not more.
What we heard from Vladimir Putin's address there, and what generally it seems to be the sense in Moscow, is that there's a hesitancy whether or not this is completely genuine, that this will lead somewhere, because we've been down this road before. Promises have been made and reneged on later. And as Vladimir Putin said, Russia's military is making sizable gains on the ground. So, you know, there is a question from Russia's side. Why should we give in now if we're making so much progress? You know, it's not all on Kiev. It's also from Russia. They will have to look at whether it's timely, I suppose, for them too.
Absolutely, absolutely. Vladimir Putin has got all the cards, and it's Russia to decide if would like to show to the world goodwill. That's the only point, because any kind of strategic average is on the Russian side. That's obvious for anyone who is observing the situation on the front line. That's Russia who is which is able absolutely to make any way forward to the next, not even very strategically important towns and villages, but also to the main centers of the Ukrainian states. It's only question of time when Russian troops could take Dnipro or Zaporozhye, or go in direction of Dnipro River and farther. That's absolutely only question of time, and unfortunately, of course, of the farther victims and destruction of the eastern Ukraine land. So it's in Russian, only Russian goodwill to start peace negotiations now and to stop any actions in the front line where Ukraine is obviously losing, and it's absolutely no other choice. Well, but unfortunately especially for the Ukrainian people, it's not the best interest of Ukraine, which is a center of policy of Vladimir Zelensky and his people. It would be we could imagine that it would be not comfortable for the Kiev regime now to stop fighting, because then all the public opinion interest would be focused on the problem of the huge corruption scandal in Kiev, for example. It's easier for them to still present as the only fighters for freedom, the only shield for Europe, and not to be, accounted for the hundreds of millions of the Western help, which has been just stolen by the closest allies of Vladimir Zelensky. That's a very hard choice for Volodymyr Zelensky and for his people, because their private interest is to continue fighting even against the best interest of the Ukrainian people.
Really interesting analysis. Thanks so much for coming onto the programme, sir, and delving into all those different aspects with us live. Polish journalist Konrad Rękas. Thank you.